Dude, how much further?
We're here. Final turn.
Yeah, you said that 2 turns ago, man.
Yeah, but this time I mean it.
All right. I'm Ian Baker.
I'm Chris Young.
And this is RV Unpacked. Welcome, everybody. I am your host, Ian Baker, and I am joined by my good friend and coworker, Chris Young.
Good morning,
we are here
sir.
we're here to do RV Unpacked, the podcast. What is it, you ask? That is a great question. I have no idea. No, just kidding. We're basically, we're going to try to touch on everything RV, right? Everything RV lifestyle, whether it's, people at a campground, whether it's something about RVs, the latest and greatest, give you a little bit of news, whether that's about the industry, RVs, give you, our personal insights, as well as bring on guests that are much smarter and more qualified than we are at their particular field.
Also accurate.
But when it comes to RVs, Chris and I do know a thing or two. And part of that is because we've been in the industry for a while, but part of it is because we are lucky enough that we get to go to all sorts of events. We get invited to RV open houses when the manufacturers put them on. And that's actually what I want to start the week one off with is our check-in for this week is something really cool that we saw when we went to RV Open House. And it was the first of its kind. Grand Design brought out their destination trailer. They're hopping on board with, the likes of Salem Wildwood, right? With the 44 View that changed the industry, and everybody else that then copied them. Grand Design is kind of taking a page out of their book and taking a destination trailer and doing something that we've never seen before. And that is the new Foundation 42 GD. Now, Chris, did you get a chance to see this at Open House? I know we kind of split. I wasn't sure if you got a chance to see it or not.
I did not, but an absolute tip of the hat to Grand Design. The one thing I will say I like about them is the thing about the RV industry you just pointed out. A lot of manufacturers will jump on trends and try to copy stuff right away. I love how Grand Design kind of took a step back for a second, took a breath, and said, let's see what we can do to make this stand out. And I got to tell you, GD is a great name to call that thing, because when I saw it, whoo boy.
That's what you said.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So for anyone that hasn't seen it yet, if you get a chance, you can Google it. Again, the Foundation 42 GD, it'll pop up. The really cool thing about it is they had a double decker patio. Say that 3 times fast. So we've seen that a lot where you get your patio, right, Chris? We saw that last year with I swear last year was the year of the patio.
It was. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of manufacturers went away from it. Grand Design doubled down quite literally. So you have the patio from the walkout, and then there's a spiral staircase like you have inside, which I will tell you is great in theory. But in reality, I'm going to be having a few cocktails, and those stairs are going to be the death of me. But
I was going to ask about that because they looked tight. I was like, now were you able to get? You got that nice big wide masculine frame. Were you able to get up there?
It wasn't bad, right?
Okay,
it was as long as you hold on to the handrail. It's honestly not too shabby, but the view from up top, man, is awesome. You're on the same level as essentially the rooftop of the destination trailer, and as you know, destination trailers are already super tall.
They're huge,
and I could definitely see it being super popular. I think of my in-laws have a seasonal at River Ridge here in Michigan, and there's some sites that are really cool because the back of the site backs up to the river, and they're up super high, and the river, it's kind of like a valley, down to the river. But I could so see if you had that thing and you have that top deck and you're able to see down in the river, it would be gorgeous.
Absolutely. I'm glad it's funny you mentioned that, because it's one of those things that's great with RVs just in general, the different regionality of where you can take them. Because as soon as I saw it, I wasn't thinking river. I'm in North Carolina. Okay. I was thinking, what a great way to go to the track to view the races. Great visibility. They had those viewing trailers anyway, which are a little bit out of bounds, if you ask my opinion. Seeing that, man, if I were to pull that thing up to Daytona, to Talladega, to Charlotte, that is a beautiful viewing experience where I'm not sacrificing a great RV on the interior just to be able to watch from the outside.
Yeah, no, that is a super good point. And that's a great thing about RVs, right? Is everyone has a little bit different use for them, like what I may use something for. Obviously, you do something different, which is wonderful.
Well, and you know what? I probably should take a step back. I'm glad that we're talking about how the two of us and how other people can use those RVs. But since we're kind of doing this podcast, it might be good to know who you are. So who is Ian Baker?
That is such a deep, deep question. I'm like
it's an enigma wrapped in a hurricane, wrapped in a wrapped in a chocolate wrapper.
No, that's a great question. So for anyone listening, maybe some people know me, probably most don't. But I have, you know what? Before I even started my professional career, let me go a layer deeper. Let me tell you about the Ian Baker, and who I am, and why I got into RVing and why I love it. And it really. You know, I don't have a ton of like core memories from a kid, right? Like there's one of being in a blow up canoe, getting pushed down my garage steps, like by my brother, and it popped and I fell out and smashed my face on concrete. That is one core memory that is up there.
That's not a good core memory.
No, it wasn't. But I definitely remember that one. But the other ones. Most of them are from growing up camping, right? It's where I learned it's how I learned to swim. It's how I learned to ride a bike. You know, I'll probably tell a story a little bit later of like one of my favorite, just again, favorite memories camping.
Right.
I just have a lot of these really, really good memories from growing up. And we would go to Jellystone National Park. We would go to Silver Lake Sand Dunes. We would go to Interlachen. We went to all these different places, and no matter where we went, it was always a good time. And so I kind of, like I said, it's always been there, and I've always just loved camping from the start. So later in life, when I got an opportunity to get into the RV industry. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll give this a shot. Let's, hey, selling campers, that sounds fun, right? It's like selling the dream.
Right.
I went from selling cell phones, which is soul crushing, by the way. People, if you ever go into a cell phone store, please be nice to the employees. Like, man, I know you're probably in there because you're mad because something's not working. But you are like number 400 person that day that is yelling at that employee.
Right.
Anyway, I digress. So
somebody yells at you, that's not a good decision, though, Ian. If they see you and they yell at you, that's not a good move.
Yeah. I'm a nice guy these days. But yeah, so I got into the RV industry and got into sales, right? Got into RV sales. And man, it is a lot of fun. Like, it is really cool connecting with people and hearing about how they're going to use it or talking about some of their adventures. I swear I've been to Alaska, vicariously through people, like listening to all their cool stories. And I still need to go. It's still on the bucket list. But, that is something that I definitely enjoyed. But then through RV sales, I worked for a small dealership in Grand Rapids called American RV, and great owners. I had an excellent sales manager as well, Rob Cortman. Rob, if you ever hear this, hats off to you, bud. Appreciate everything that you and Chad did for me. But one of the things that Rob wanted us to do in sales was he said, hey, I need all of the salespeople to do video walkthroughs. He's like, I think this is going to be a big thing. And this is probably 2015, maybe?
Okay.
2014, 2015, something like that. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. So we did. We started doing some videos, and man, it was awkward. Dude, looking back at some of the first videos I did, oh, they were so bad. If you ever find them, if you dig deep, if anyone's listening and you dig deep on our YouTube channel, you can probably find some, and they are. It's an adventure for sure. But as we were doing some of these, my sales manager, Rob, he comes up and he's like, Ian, he's like, I got to tell you do a really good job. And I was like, oh, thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. And he goes, how would you like to do this full time? And I'm like doing videos of RVs? And he's like, yeah. I said, Rob, got to be honest, man, that sounds freaking terrible. That is not at all what I want to do. Like I'm an introverted person. I do not want to be on camera. Like I'm very uncomfortable.
Right.
And he was like, I'll tell you what. He's like, you can work 9 to 5. You can have weekends off. And I had a son at that time. He was a little guy, and I was like, ooh, yeah, okay, all right, sold. I'll do it. And it was cool. Like I kind of got to build this YouTube channel from there. Like American RV had a pretty small channel. I think we had like 800 subscribers or something when I started. And in about a year and a half, I built it up to 10,000 subscribers, which was pretty cool. Like it was really cool to grow and watch the community grow. And it really gave me a unique opportunity because of that. Camping World ended up buying out our dealership, and Camping World came in and kind of saw what we were doing on YouTube in the digital space, and they're like, wow, like you're doing a really good job. How would you like to do this for us? And I was like, oh, wow, like national. And they're like, yeah. It's like, oh, absolutely. So that's what I did. And, it's been, 10, 11 years now that I've been doing it. Yeah. And, and with Camping World, obviously I got access to a whole bunch more inventory, which was super exciting because I kind of start to like nerd out about it, and seeing different RVs and everything that's out there. And so as that started to grow, I was like, I can't do all this. There is too much, and I need some help. And so I happened to hear about this guy that worked for the company out in North Carolina, and they're like, we have the perfect guy. And that, good sir, happened to be you.
Oh boy, what a mistake that was, wasn't it?
Oh, whatever, man. It was great. So glad you were able to join us. And and that's kind of how I got to where I am. And like I say, 10 plus years of experience, so I definitely know a thing or two. But that's me, man, in a nutshell for all the listeners. Yeah. Hey, listen, like I said, if it's very possible people have seen me on YouTube. It's very possible they haven't, obviously, right? Like this is a different platform, and hopefully my nasally voice isn't grating for people on their ears. But Chris, who has the velvety voice, you, good sir, why don't you tell us your story, where you come from, and how you got here?
Thank you, buddy. And you know what? It's one of those things where, Ian mentions he is a nice guy. Over the years, I've gotten a chance to know him. He's one of my best friends, and he really is a nice guy. He's a sweetheart. I also call him the RV Oracle, though, because the dude is so good just getting in there and just getting into the RVs. So, brother, and I say this all the time, I'm honored to be around you, and I love you.
Thank you. Same.
According to the letter I got from my attorneys, I can't divulge a lot. A little bit of a federal investigation currently taking place, but we'll try to dance around what we can. Look,
he's joking, folks.
Camino,
He's kidding.
I'm 100% kidding. Yeah, no, I'm Chris Young. I'm never serious, which hopefully you'll be able to tell. Born and raised in Southern Virginia, and kind of the same thing. I remember growing up, doing a lot of camping, and we used to do Boy Scout trips all the time to Staunton River State Park, which is in Southern Virginia. And my parents, we'd always go to Nags Head, the Outer Banks, and my dad would do the camping trips up to Stone Mountain and stuff like that, and the Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia, and absolutely loved growing up in that area and growing up with actually 4 seasons, which is unique, for some areas of the country. And
for sure,
going from tent camping to mom and dad getting that first RV, and just all the great memories that while I was making them, I wasn't thinking about it until later. When you start reflecting, that's when the impact really hits. But I never even thought of RVs in general, really, until I came here to Camping World. I spent almost 30 years in broadcasting after serving in the military, which I also was moonlighting as a DJ at night, by the way. So I think I've passed the statute of limitations. Yeah, I'm not going to get in trouble for it, at least I shouldn't.
How did I not know that? That's news to me. That's awesome.
Dude, I had to. It was one of those things. But I still don't know how I did it when you have to get up at 4:15 in the morning for PT. But anyway, and that took me all over the country. Radio took me all over the country. Got a chance to work with so many great broadcasters, but unfortunately, radio kind of took a turn. And, after consolidation, years after consolidation, it just became a little bit of a toxic environment, if you would. That hurts. That hurts when you put your life, your blood, sweat, and tears into an industry to be sitting there in the parking lot with knots in your stomach. And you get a call from your buddy who just happens to be the general manager of the Camping World around the corner. And I had sent him a couple of marketing managers in the past, and he said, Chris, I need another one. You got somebody else for me? And I said, you know what? Let me talk to you. Let me come over and talk to you. So about a month later, I became one of the sales managers at my location, business development manager, into sales. And I was kind of doing the same thing. I noticed that our team, they weren't using the technology and the abilities that they had to promote these things. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, just record yourself. Get your cell phone out. Talk about how great this is for a family. Talk about how great this is for a couple. And then just put it on your Facebook feed. And I never will forget the day I got the phone call. Sam Peters, Sam, hopefully you're listening. We love you. She goes, there's going to be a guy calling you. And whatever he says, do it. And what do you think my initial comment back was? Usually that's $1,200. But this time I said, you know what? I'm excited. Let me happen. And our good friend, now our boss, calls me and says, how would you like to go blow up some RVs? He had me at how? And I said, absolutely. Next thing I know, the very next weekend, which was Memorial Day, I'm at a horse farm outside of Orlando, blowing up RVs, setting fire to the back of this property with fire marshals, police chiefs, for the first ever Gander Extreme rollout. And
love it.
It's just all been uphill from there. One of the most fun experiences I ever had in my entire life. Getting down there and literally doing hand signals so we timed out my line when the RV exploded on time. Look at what all we've been able to do.
Oh yeah. I got to be honest. In my head, I imagine like this commercial, right, where it's like an RV and it's like extreme explosion.
Yeah.
Like
it was.
I don't know why. That's just like what I'm picturing.
That's exactly what it was.
Explosion.
It was my Michael Bay moment. And I have a little shrine to our boy Brad here in the house where I bow to it every now and then to thank him for giving me that Michael Bay moment because it was.
That's awesome.
Getting extreme. And boom, the big explosion. It was great.
Oh man, that's awesome. Like I said, man, I am so glad that we found you, and
same.
obviously working with you for the past few years has been absolutely incredible. I feel that Chris and I have a great we have a great dynamic, right? Like a great back and forth. We balance each other out. And sometimes I will forget things, and Chris remembers about an RV, and I'm like, that's right. I'm like, why won't this start? Or whatever it might be. Like, oh, well, there's this.
And vice versa. Yeah. I mean, Ian is so good and knows so many technical specs. And yeah, I think you're right. I think we do a good back and forth. You're very professional, steady, good. I'm very out on the far left field, untrackable, ridiculous. Lifestyle and tech and specs, man. I think we got a good mix.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And the other thing too, right, is like, and I kind of like from the beginning, like I said, like, my roots come from RVing, and obviously, right, we've both been able to have an opportunity to be able to go out. One of the things I want to do today, Chris, is I want to cover your favorite camping story.
Sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. I mentioned it earlier in the beginning, right? Like I had one I wanted to share.
Yeah.
And then I also want to share like your camping horror story. Like what one of the worst ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I get some legal protection on that one?
No.
So this is not a sanctuary place? Okay, I got you.
This is not. So if it is going to get you arrested, I kid.
Change the name to protect the guilty.
I want to start because, like I said, I wanted to tell this story earlier, but obviously, I wanted to introduce us to the listeners and kind of say who we were. So, but I think a lot of us have one of those favorite camping stories and kind of like a core memory. And for me, it was growing up. I was a young guy, maybe 8, right? And like I said, we frequented a Jellystone National Park. Just because it was like really close to the sand dunes, and it was pretty close to Michigan's Adventure, which was like a water park here in Michigan, and so we would, kind of take a day at like each one of those too. But I remember one morning, right? I had woken up and I was out in the tent. My parents usually slept in the RV, and I usually slept out in the tent. As a kid, I thought it was awesome.
That's the coolest thing.
As an adult, I think they just wanted the RV to themselves.
100.
and good for them. But I remember, hearing something, and I'm like, oh, that's Yogi Bear. Which, man, Yogi Bear back in the day, Yogi and Boo Boo were just awesome, right? Like they were right up there with Popeye in my book. Like,
heck yeah, man.
These dudes are kings. They're just stealing picnic baskets and munching down like
the picnic basket.
Yeah, like let's go. And I remember, coming out of my tent, and there was Yogi Bear, and I was like, oh my gosh, like Yogi's at our campsite. Like normally, he would be like on a hayride or like,
sure,
like you'd see him from time to time, but he came to our campsite, and he had something in his hands, and I'm looking, and he goes, "Happy birthday," in a Yogi voice, and I'm like, oh. And Yogi Bear handed me a lightsaber, which, you want to talk about like two of the coolest things meshing ever,
dude?
Right? We have Star Wars and Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
Like, who needs Yoda when you can have Yogi? You know what I mean?
Man,
like,
you just opened up the black hole of awesomeness right there with that one. That's come on.
Give me that picnic basket. No, but it was a super cool experience, like being able to have that, like someone, again, like as a kid, like I don't want to say I idolized, but someone that I thought was super cool, and coming to my campsite and giving me a lightsaber, which is one of like my favorite things. Always been a Star Wars fan. I'm a huge nerd for anyone that doesn't know. I like fantasy books. I like video games.
Oh yeah.
I like RVing. I like working out. I don't know. Like I said, I'm an enigma. I'm an onion. Who knows?
Get out the kitchen and let this man cook. Come on.
But that was just one of those like core memories for me. And it's also, like I said earlier, like, I remember my dad teaching me how to swim in the pool. Like that's how I learned to swim. I didn't have lessons like, I'd give my kids now because I can't teach, but, like my dad was really good. He was a great teacher, taught me how to swim. It's where I learned how to ride a bike. I actually have a picture, I think I have it somewhere in here, of my brother and I riding a bike. We were riding bikes together, and I couldn't stop. I didn't understand the brakes. It was like one of them with the pedals, right? We had to like push the pedals backwards.
Yeah.
And didn't quite understand and didn't quite know how to stop very well, and accidentally ran a lady over. Sorry, but she was okay, But again, core memories. But that is easily one of my, like I said, one of my favorite camping stories. It was something I always look back to, and something that I hope I can provide for my kids. I hope that when they get older, they look back at some of the experiences we've had and have the same fondness.
Yeah, no, dude, that's absolutely, and I think that's the great thing, not only about RVs, but just camping in general. I mentioned it. You don't think about it until later, the memories that you're making, and I am so jealous right now that you got a chance to not only see Yogi Bear, because I never saw him. I think I've told you about the Mickey Mouse trip when we went to Disneyland when I was a little guy. Mickey comes running out, giving everybody the high fives, and I'm like, Mickey, and he just walks right by me, scarred for life. I'm scarred for life because of that.
Terrible.
I'm scarred for life.
Terrible.
Can't stand that rat. So that's what they get. But hearing that, man, that brings me better. That makes me put more faith in humanity again. Hearing
you call Mickey Mouse a rat might be my favorite moment of the podcast. That was great.
Well, you know what? He dissed a 7-year-old, so that's what he is.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. When you're not getting dissed by Mickey, what is your favorite camping story? I'm sure you have one.
Oh man, I have so many. From the first time I ever got my ear pierced, thanks to going fishing with my buddy Eric Vass. By the way, kids, don't stand behind your friends when they're casting.
I don't like that.
You know what? I probably actually have to say my favorite memory. So I'm a dad. I have a son who's 16 now, and my dad, the RV that we first had was this little Scotty Class C motorhome.
Okay.
And when I was in the Army, Dad would drive. We would go to Alabama because it was like the midway point between Virginia and Texas for us. So I'd drive, and we stayed at a little KOA outside of Birmingham every year, multiple times. And I just remember how cool it was for me, hanging out with the family, not seeing them going in. But probably my favorite memory was when my dad upgraded the Scotty to a 1992 Gulfstream Friendship XLE, a diesel pusher.
Ooh.
And my son was maybe not even 3 at this point. And this was the first time he got a chance to see it. And
That's
he
cool.
hopped out. He's pointing at it. And he's like, "Pop's bus, Pop's bus, Pop's bus." And
Aww.
for years, we could not get him to get out of the RV. He wanted to stay in the RV. My dad would actually drive it up here and take my son and just keep him in the RV down at Oak Hollow campgrounds here in town. My kid loved that thing so much. But that very first time, we took it out to a little campground in South Boston, where my family is, and seeing my son just run around, the look on his face, the excitement, the yelling, the laughing, playing with all the knobs inside the RV, climbing on the sofa.
That's what it's all about.
Climbing up into the bunk, running around the bathroom, trying to get stuck in the toilet. It was amazing, man. It was one of those things where it's like you don't realize it at the time. But now that he's 16, I think back to, damn, I'd love to be able to do that again with him. So, so by far, that's probably one of my favorites as far as camping story goes. Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, it cracks me up. My girls, their favorite thing about any RV is bunk beds. They don't have them at home. And when they get bunk beds, they're like, "It's got bunks."
It's so squishy.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, you don't care about the fact that it has, 4 slide outs in a fireplace, and nope. And I'm like, all right, well, it's got a beverage station outside for Dad, so
there it is.
We're both happy.
Yeah, and speaking of, the thing that Pop did with my son, all the fun and stuff, and he was involved in every game. He didn't do that with me.
Yeah. Hey, it's one of those things. It's like some genetics, right? It skips a generation.
What, niceness?
No. Is that not the case? That's not it?
No, it's 100%. No, I loved it. No, he was awesome. But dude, that is kind of, kids love the bunks, man. They absolutely love the bunks.
All right. Let's get into it, Chris. So obviously, great memories, right? I mean, my
now
side, your
bring up
side,
the bad,
like
don't you?
hopefully,
now we got to talk about the bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, hopefully, right? It kind of elicited some nice, fun emotions for the listeners.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the horror stories, because unfortunately, things go wrong. They just do. What you got for me?
Oh man, you're gonna make me start. Okay, well, first off, I want to apologize. Not only to the people that are going to hear this, but also to my friend who was involved. So growing up, my best friend, little James Wade, loved me some James Wade. Jamie was probably half my size growing up. But he made up for it in that he was also a national championship wrestler, got a full ride scholarship to college. He was, I believe, I'm not mistaken, he was an alternate for the Olympics one year. He was really good. So Jamie was always super smart, super fun. But growing up, man, we were in Southern Virginia. We didn't have a lot to do. So we would go camp in the woods. We'd take our BB guns and we would go, quote unquote, hunting, if you would, even though I don't think we ever hit anything. But the big thing back then, for us anyway, was if you're going in the woods, watch out for snipes.
Snipes.
And we didn't know.
All right.
We didn't know what it was because it had been described to us across a gamut of what it could be. Everything from snakes to badgers to unholy goblins that are possessed by demons that have come up out the ground. So we didn't know what a snipe was. We were just always told, watch out for it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's an alive.
What is this thing?
One weekend, we go, because my house where I live was right next to the woods, so we would go camping there all the time. We go hunting. And we're walking through the woods, joking, laughing, shooting at squirrels, but it's a BB gun, one of the little pump action BB guns. It's not going to barely shoot 3 feet.
Do anything. Yeah.
As we're walking,
Red
we
Ryder?
hear this. No, couldn't get the Red Ryder. I always wanted that because it had the little compass in the stock. No, I had the, I think it was the Winchester. The Winchester BB.
Well,
yeah,
shoot.
it had
All
the metal
right.
handle. You remember those? You would actually dislocate your wrist.
Pump it up.
Yeah. Well, as we're walking along, we hear this in the bush. No clue what it was, so we didn't think anything of it. We keep going a little bit further down. We hear and it starts getting louder. And now it's changing sides on us. So Jamie takes his BB gun, shoots, hits the bush. Nothing happens. We don't see anything. So we're thinking, okay, nothing of it. We're going further down into the woods, and it's getting darker by this point, too, because our goal was we were going to make it past the train tracks, which were like 2 miles from my house, and we were going to camp out close to this stream that was down there. So we get close.
Nice.
The sun's coming down. We look back, and one of the many trees just starts shaking. We can't see anything behind it. I take my flashlight out, shine my flashlight. It stops. All of a sudden, on the other side, the bush starts shaking. And we hear this.
This thing is stalking you.
That's the first thing that popped in my head. I shoot.
Mountain lion.
Jamie shoot. That's what it could have been. We shoot. The bush gets angry and starts shaking furiously. We still don't know. Ian, there's nothing. I don't know. To this day, I couldn't tell you what was back there. But we just hear this.
Oh, that's nuts.
We take off running. All right? We take off running. I'm booking it. Jamie's booking it. And as we're running, I'm looking down at Jamie, and he's looking up at me, and he's got this scared expression on his face, and I do too. And I'm just thinking, oh, man, we got to make this. We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I don't have to beat what's chasing us. I got to beat Jamie.
Oh, no.
So I look down, and as he's looking up at me, Ian, I squared off right in the middle of his chest. He dropped like beads at Mardi Gras and is screaming my name. My nickname back then was Snake. We won't even go into
aptly earned.
Yeah, 100%. Snake Dawes. And I'm just booking it. Now, he was fine. Everything was fine. And we got back to the house. He said nothing got him. He didn't know what it was, but he was very angry at the fact that I knocked him down. I told him why. And ever since then,
what was your reason why, Chris?
Well, I had a muscle spasm in my shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was flailing because I flail when I run. You've seen me. I flail when I run, and I just happened to turn and, so I apologize for the accident.
Poor Jamie.
Absolutely an accident. But we never went camping after that again.
Well, I believe it.
And to be honest, and if I'm being honest with you, I never went back in those woods after that. We'd always go someplace else.
Oh my goodness. Well, I will tell you, this was probably a formative moment for Jamie. He probably started wrestling, so this never happened to him again.
Right? It very well could have been. Very well could have been.
Oh man, that's wild.
Now, what
wild.
about you? I laid myself on the altar. What you got?
Me.
Yeah.
All right.
I know you got a few.
I do. There's one in particular. So, yeah. So for anyone that is squeamish, this is probably your time to not listen. But anyone else that wants to hear a hilarious story, here it goes. So I was this was right when Camping World bought us out, right? So I had been in the RV industry for maybe a year and a half, something like that. Mm-hmm. Still, enough to be. I knew enough to be dangerous, but still not super knowledgeable. Just things take time, right? Like there's a lot of things out there, and if you don't experience it yourself, a lot of times you don't know how things work.
Facts.
So yeah, right before they bought us out, I had asked the owner and the sales manager. I'm like, hey, I'm going camping this July 4th, going to River Ridge where my in-laws were. And I said, can I take this Monaco Diplomat, which is, it's like a $400,000 or $500,000 diesel pusher, right? Like it was slightly used. It was, I think it was like 3 years old maybe.
That's when they're better. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And they're like, yeah, like, shouldn't be a problem. Like, I knew it got used by one of the owner's friends for like some marketing event or something, like it would be like 2 weeks previous, right?
Okay.
And so he's like, yeah, you know what? He's like, just be really careful. Yeah, awesome. And so I'm driving this thing. It's a tag axle, right? I think it was 43. I don't think it was a full 45. I think it was 43. But my first time driving a bus, which I will tell you, for anyone listening as well, and Chris, and I know you can attest to this too. Like, driving a diesel pusher is like my second favorite motorhome to drive. Like, Class B is number one because it's just like driving a car. Like, it's super easy.
Yep.
But a diesel pusher, man, I had a finger, a finger on each side of the wheel, and it was like, I mean, it drives like a breeze. It was so nice.
They're a dream, man. They're such a dream.
Yeah, just big, heavy tank just floating down the road. And so, as we're going there, like, naturally there's construction. And so I'm like, kind of a little tense through that. And but we were in a hurry. So our friends were going to stay in it with us. But they had a dog, and their dog was a puppy, and I didn't want it like chewing up anything because, again, like, it's an expensive RV. Like, let's not ruin this thing, please. So I agreed to run up to my parents, which is like an hour and a half north. And they said they would watch the dog. So I'm like, great.
Nice.
So I'm kind of in a hurry. I'm pulling in. Everyone's, looking at me like, ooh, look at that big, pretty bus. Feeling like a baller. And,
I think they were looking more at the big, pretty guy driving the big, pretty bus. I'm just saying.
Well, it was probably more of like, hey, how is a 30-year-old driving a $500,000 bus? I'm sure is more what it was.
He manages hedge funds.
Yeah, man, I wish.
You're right.
And so I back it in, and I'm, again, haven't really backed anything up that's that long. So I kind of look silly doing it. So I'm already kind of embarrassed,
Oof, okay.
And yeah, and I'm kind of like going back and forth, and I get it in there, and I'm like, all right. Got to hook everything up super quick. Right. So I get out, like, I'm hooking up, the water lines, hooking up electric. I'm like, all right, like, let's level this beast out, hit auto level. And I'm like, all right, I'm like, honey, this thing's going to level itself out. Just don't be in it. Like, it should be good. I'll be back. Like, we're going to go. And she's like, okay, cool. So I hop in, trying to scoot up north so I can get back so we can start hanging out and enjoying vacation. We had something I had to be back for. I don't remember what it was, but I know I was on a time crunch, which I always am with my wife. Love my wife, but we're always in a time crunch, and I'm always the one that's late. So we go and drop the dogs off, and I get back, and my wife's like, hey, she's like, so someone came over and let us know that the jack is on our water line. And I'm like, oh no. So I go over, and sure enough, man, not even thinking about it.
Oh,
leveling the
jack,
water
not
line
stab
back.
Jack, right?
No, it was a leveling jack. Oh, yeah, big old hydraulic leveling jack. Just smack. The hose has like a big old like bulb in it right behind it, from where it pushed all the material out. It's just a big old bulbous thing.
Which hose was it on?
Drinking water hose, freshwater hose.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And my potable water hose. And I'm like, crap. So, and I'm like, you know what? It's fine because when I hit auto level, the site wasn't super level and one side was off the ground anyway. And I'm like, well, we need to fix this. So anyway, did everything I had to fix it. Got it all set. And I'm like, all right, like, we're good. Let's relax. So we do, and we make it about 2.5 hours.
Okay. All right.
And, my wife was asking a bunch of questions about, like, if she can use the bathroom and how we know, when it's time to dump tanks and things like that. And I told her, like, hey, like, we have to make sure we keep the valves closed, even though we have hookup at the site. So, it doesn't build up waste in the black tank and things like that. Running her
Get the
through
pyramiding.
Again, like I said,
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
I knew enough to be dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Like, I had some knowledge. And so I'm telling her all this, and then she goes, hey, she checks it, after she uses the bathroom, she's like, the black tank needs to be dumped. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no way. Like, we've barely been here.
You just got there.
And I check it, and yeah, we just got there. I check it, and sure enough, it needs to be dumped. And I'm like, okay.
What did your family eat? That's the first thing that's going to pop in my head.
Well, again, it got used a few weeks before.
That's
and I'm like, right. I wonder if whoever used it didn't dump the black tank.
Ew.
Right.
Okay. Ew.
And it probably, it probably didn't get checked in yet because, it's still, in fact, I know it didn't because they said like, hey, like, it still needs to be swept and everything else. And I was like, okay, fine. But I don't think they ever dumped the black tank. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just dump it. So I go out there and, something, again, there's new things on RVs, things we don't get to experience. And this time around, it was a macerator pump.
Oh.
Never dealt with one. Yeah, great. Macerator pump. Excellent. Chews it up, makes it nice, comes out nice and quick.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Shouldn't have any blockages
I know the
anywhere.
reasoning.
Yeah, okay.
Right. I know the reasoning behind it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is great. I love this. So, I'd already hooked everything up before we left, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, hooked everything up into the sewer, and I'm like, cool, I'll just, go over and we'll make it happen. So I get down there, and there's a button. I push the button, and I'm pretty sure, again, this is like a decade ago, but I'm pretty sure you had to hold it on this particular model.
Right.
So I'm pushing it and holding it, and I'm looking, and it makes a sound like a pump.
Yeah, like it's actually running. Yeah.
Like grinding stuff up and pushing stuff out like it should. But then the sewer hose, starts to swell.
That's
and
not
I'm
a
like,
good sign.
oh, that's not good.
That's
so I let go of the button.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that doesn't seem right. But, it's like a thick, like gray hose. So it's not like you can see anything.
Right.
And I'm like, well, maybe that's just what it does. Let me try again. So I do it again, and it starts to swell up again. I let go. And
Which
I'm
is
like,
more
man,
concerning
because
those hoses are pretty thick. So if they're swelling, it's some pressure.
And so I'm like, okay, like, what am I doing wrong here? Like, man, I swear this is how it works. Like, I look around, and I'm like, there is nothing else here. This has, like, I must just be, for lack of a better word, I must just be stupid. Like, this is how it has to work. There's no other way for this to function.
Right.
So, dude, I go for the gold. I push that button, and I watch this hose swell, and it's swelling, and I'm like, this is not right. And right as I let go of the button, the hose pops off the part that's screwed into the ground, and I have a 1 inch thick stream that just covers me.
Oh, and that's
all
not
that
rainbow
pressure,
glitter covering you
all
either.
that pressure just...
That's probably the noise.
Oh my gosh, dude. It was easily the most foul thing I have ever experienced in my life. It smelled so bad. Like, the movie RV has nothing on what this was. Like, it was so incredibly awful that, like, and so, like,
Robin
I'm like,
Williams,
oh my
that thing.
gosh, right? So like, great, now I have to clean up, like, basically like a biohazard, right? So I have to clean all this up, and, like, I'm disgusting. Everything smells. And I figured out, for the record, I figured out what it was. I
mean, I could probably take a guess.
When I screwed it in to the sewer hookup, the little end there has a little plug on it. And I never took the plug off because I was in a hurry and didn't even think about it. And so, yes, it was absolutely clogged and shot everywhere. But it was bad enough that my in-laws, who are like all the way across the campground, I mean, they are like 35 sites away, they smelled it.
Oh.
And they were like, oh, man, what is that wretched smell?
Oh, man, look, everybody knows when it's a pooplosion. It's not hard to hide.
Yeah, that was easily my most horrifying experience. And I literally walked like up to the door, and my buddy, with a beer in hand, is like, "Oh man, what's that smell?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm literally covered in. You need to get out of the way. Like, I need you to move."
Nobody even thought about just hosing you down right there.
Nah. It was
God.
terrible.
Ian, that's not
so
that's not just a horror story. That's That's scarring.
Oh, dude, I just want to let everyone know that's out there that's listening, right? Whether you're a veteran or your first time. And first of all, there's a lot of people that are veterans. They're like, rookie mistake. And I agree. Very dumb move. But for everyone else, just know that everyone makes mistakes. There are always things that are going to happen. And, whether you're backing into the campsite, whether you're squishing your water line, whether you're getting covered head to toe in someone else's 2-week-old fecal matter, just know that, that mistakes happen. And that's how we learn. I promise you this. It never happened again.
This is so good for my diet plan.
Yeah, sorry, everyone. I did give a fair warning that it's pretty gross. So I apologize if anyone lost their lunch there. But that is my number one horror story.
So Ian, brother, I am sorry that is absolutely a Hall of Fame horror story if I've ever heard one.
Oh, I agree. But I would much rather have a better Hall of Fame, Chris.
Yes.
And that, sir, is kind of what we talked about. Folks, one of the things that Chris and I talked about that we wanted to do is we want to have an RV Hall of Fame. And this is an opportunity for Chris and I to basically go head to head with two different RVs. Right. And what the idea here is we're going to have a category. This week's category is premium fifth wheels. And so I have picked one, Chris has picked one, but we haven't told each other what we've picked. So we're gonna hear everything for the first time as far as to what the picks are.
Right.
I'm basically going to try to convince Chris that mine belongs in the RV Hall of Fame, and he is going to do the same to me. But here's the trick, right? If we can't come to an agreement, it doesn't get inducted. If we can, then either Chris convinces me or vice versa, then we induct that RV into the RV Hall of Fame. And I will keep a running list. So that way, if you're on, podcast episode 32 and you want to know what's won in the past for certain categories, you're able to look that up and you can quickly listen to that episode and understand why we feel it deserves it. So the basic format is basically one of us are going to start. We'll have 60 seconds to plead our case, so to speak, as to why we believe it should be inducted into the RV Hall of Fame. And your time starts in 3 and 2 and 1, go.
Won't even really need the whole 60 seconds because the brand new Pinnacle 38 FBRK should win this hands down. Not only is Pinnacle known for the quality construction, gorgeous coaches, tremendous layouts, and of course, just amenities out the wazoo. This one, the 38 FBRK, with it having the front bedroom, the gorgeous sectional sofa, and a rear kitchen that I know we're talking about rear kitchens here, what is what it is. But this rear kitchen is actually functional. It's gorgeous. Everything stem to stern. And they have a brand new water filtration system, the Nuvo H2O, which is a triple filter, and it uses citrus versus salt to do the water filtration. And the fact that it has 3 points on it, to me, just makes it stand out. Add that to the fact that you also got this Overlander package. It's got awesome solar, tons of storage. It's just one of those coaches that when you walk in, you don't feel like you're in an RV. You literally feel like you're in a luxury resort.
That's time. Yeah, man, I got to be honest. The Pinnacle is really nice. Jayco does a fantastic job. That Nuvo filtration system is really nice, and we'll get into everything in a second. But first, I get to pitch mine.
All right.
And
are you ready?
I am. This is a hot take. This is going to be an underdog, but I think once everyone hears why, I think they will understand. So,
are you ready? You got 60 seconds on the clock, starting in 3, 2.
Okay, so mine is the all-new East to West Ahara 395 FB. And for those of you that aren't familiar with East to West, it is a newer company. Ahara is, again, a luxury fifth wheel. This is a perfect full-time coach for a number of reasons. Now, what's funny is it is actually a very similar layout to the Pinnacle that Chris chose, which is hilarious. But this one has a big, large residential kitchen with a four-burner cooktop and oven. You're getting a 16 cubic foot fridge, a bar area that you can eat at that overlooks the TV, a huge pantry. It has a desk. You have like the front living room feel with theater seats. And you have the dual trifold sofas that can accommodate overnight guests. So while it's perfect for a couple, again, full-timers, if you have guests, you can entertain. They have a spot to sit. The best part, though, is it has a half bath with a separate washer and dryer and a table that you can fold clothes on, which is huge. It has a king bed in the bedroom. It has a TV with a second fireplace. It has a huge main bath with dual vanity.
That is your time.
Oh, and there's so much more on the outside.
There is. And you know what? The half bath with the washer dryer in the half bath, outstanding.
Yes. Yeah, that for me is probably like the part that really sold it. Like I said, because both of these are very similar floor plans.
Yeah,
and Jayco makes it a great fifth wheel. But when you look at the Ahara and some of the things they have done with like the frame and the construction and the ride, but even more so when you look at that layout and what they have done with that half bath and the laundry setup, I think that is an absolute winning combo.
Don't they have trip ACs on there too?
They do. They were one of the first. It's actually really funny you mentioned that. So for anyone that is listening, Ahara was the first manufacturer that went triple ACs on their fifth wheels. And they actually got a lot of pushback from consumers because they didn't duct them. They were all direct vent. But they did super extensive testing to show that it was actually way more efficient for direct duct, and it would cool the RVs down faster. And they ran one duct into a bathroom. And that was it. Everything else, like that was the only one they run. Everything else was non-ducted. And they got so much pushback. Everyone's like, I want ducts. And it's funny because they were ahead of their time because they went away from it and they went back to a ducted system. And now everyone is going ductless because now they're seeing the research and they're like, oh, well, this is better. Having just one. So everyone wants like the Furion chill cubes, which is what they, and that's basically what they were already rocking. So, which
are absolutely great ACs. And it's funny you talk about the layout there. The one thing, so I do think Ahara gets the pinnacle in that half bath with the laundry setup. I think that's a win. I think Pinnacle beats them though with the sectional for the additional sleeping as well as sitting space. I think the kitchen's a little bit better, and I like how Pinnacle with that telescoping dinette is able to put that in there but give you a separate office space so it doesn't feel clunky. There's actually a break. There's a little bit of a separation. So having that, Ian, I got to tell you, I'm not so sure though, because that Ahara is a good pick, man. That Ahara is a real good pick.
And like I said, the fact you have a dual vanity, the other thing I really like. So it's this, right? And as I mentioned before, the thing that really makes the difference is the laundry room. But it's not just the fact that you have a dedicated laundry room, which is amazing, and the fact that it also doubles as a half bath, which is super smart.
Right.
But by doing that, it frees up your entire wardrobe in that front. Right. Basically every other fifth wheel out there, if you have washer and dryer prep, unless it's a front living, every other fifth wheel out there, basically, your washer and dryer is going up in your storage and it's chewing up storage. But, especially if you're planning on staying in it full time or extended, if you're like a snowbird, you want that storage. You want your clothes storage.
And chances are you're going to use the storage. Yeah. And chances are you're going to get the storage or use the storage more than you do the washer dryer.
Exactly. So I think this is truly the perfect setup. I think it's the best of both worlds. And it's a luxury coach, right? Because you can get an optional generator if you so choose, which most people are going to use shore power, but you can also get optional dual pane windows. So for those that are looking to live in it full time, like that is huge. As we know, like that is your biggest heat loss is going to be through the windows.
Yeah. I mean, that is a spot where I think Pinnacle wins is because, it has it on there. The not having the double vanity, though, in the primary bathroom, that's a knock. That was one of the ones that was like, you know what? This would have been perfect if they would have added X, Y, and Z. But, man, you got me on the storage space in the primary closet, and just doing it in the half bath, putting the laundry there, just makes so much more sense because you probably have a little bit more manufacturing space in that area than you do in the closet. So, brother.
Come on, Chris. Listen, Jayco. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, folks. Pinnacle makes a killer coach. Chris knows. I can see it in his eyes. He knows that the Ahara is the better pick.
Yeah.
You know it is.
Yeah. All right. First
See?
one out the gate, and I'm taking an L.
Hey, I will tell you right now, for all of our listeners, like, you will not go wrong either way. They're both very similar floor plans.
Both are winners. Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, on that note, one of the things Chris and I want to do, thank you again for joining us for our first RV Hall of Fame. I do want to know what you listeners think. Like, do you think I'm out of my mind? Check them both out, because chances are you probably have never heard of the Ahara. So look it up, check it out. I want to hear from you guys.
It's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, and check out the Pinnacle and see which one you think is better. Would love to hear your feedback. But also, before we go, Chris and I always want to leave you with a little something, leave you with a little nugget, right? Make sure it's you're getting value out of the entire podcast. So this week, and again, just talk about some of the things we've seen. So this week, one of the things that we saw when we've gone to like the Hershey RV show and Open House.
Sneak peeks,
we're starting
all of them.
Sneak peeks, yes. One of the things that we really saw was the rise in the popularity of rear kitchen floor plans.
Yes.
And obviously, right, like Chris and I both picked them. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, because for a few reasons. One, I think it's hilarious because rear kitchens for the longest time have had a stigma that, because back in the day, they didn't have very good suspension systems. And it's true, they'd hit potholes and like plates and cups and everything would fall out and nothing would be there when you got there. So manufacturers are bringing back rear kitchens, but so many are not calling it a rear kitchen, right? The Ahara, perfect example. It's a 395 FB. Cougar came out with one, the 350 LLK. Eagle had one.
Yeah,
right?
the 360
Eagle,
UX.
the 365, UKTS.
Yep.
But I think it's coming back for a few reasons. And one is that it just maximizes, a rear kitchen maximizes living space, right? Or maximizes kitchen space, I mean. And that, when we look at homes and remodeling homes, right, on residential side, the kitchen is always the number one thing that people look at, right? It's the number one thing that they say it adds the most resale value to your home. And why wouldn't it be the same on an RV, right? It is a home. It's a home on wheels. And so I think having that rear kitchen be like the focal point of the RV is a big part of it. And most of those layouts still provide really large living areas.
Yeah. And it's also a great way, too, for the manufacturers to get people involved in RVs. Because when you think about what's the most manufacturing space you're going to have in there to play with a floor plan, it's probably going to be a rear dining or a rear kitchen space. You can't really do much with bunks. You got to have the bunks in an area, and they're going to take up space regardless. But if you're looking for your first RV, or you're thinking, hey, it's just me and the loved one, or maybe we're going to go bring the kids, I think there's more of that happening than there are like the families of 6, 8, and 10, which is why that rise in popularity of the rear kitchens. And Ian, to your point about the residential inside our home, it's where we spend our most time. It's also where you're going to notice the biggest upgrades. So if they bring in a solid surface countertop, they put in some brand new fancy handles, or they make these cabinets a little bit more beveled and stand out, you're going to see that first when you walk in. And you're going to be like, wow, this is a beautiful coach. The rest of the living area could be plain Jane and simple, but if that kitchen is popping, chances are you're going to have a little bit more affinity towards it than you would something different.
That's right. There you have it, folks. So definitely, hopefully that we provided some value here. Like I said, check out a couple of those coaches, and you will continue to see the rise of the rear kitchen for the 2026 model year. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining us, Chris. As always, man, I had a blast. This was fun.
Same,
looking forward to do it again next week. Make sure everyone tunes in next week. We have one of my favorite humans alive, a fantastic guest. We have Trish Sir joining us. And if you're not familiar with who Trish is, she is an absolute rock star. No, that's a lie. Her husband is a rock star.
Well, she is too, though. Yeah.
She is a rock star at design. And she is probably one of the most fun, down-to-earth people I know. Absolutely hilarious. Really looking forward to getting to chat with her. So make sure you tune in next week. And same bat time, same bat channel.
And have a great week camping.
Have a great week camping.